What's up, guys? It's Canaan, and welcome back to What If Yang Was a Saiyan. This is part 6. Delayed by a day, I know, but my work schedule got changed, and I ended up having to go in at 8 o'clock this morning, and I had to close Thursday night, so there was like no way that I'd have time to record for Friday. Um, I was actually kind of dreading this one coming out because it took me a while to really come up with a basic idea. Because you guys know, I sat here and pretty much pull this plot out of my butt. Um, as it comes to me, though, last couple of episodes I kind of did pre plan, but work's been so crazy this coming week that I'm pretty much going almost completely blind into this. I do have a basic outline to go. But also, I'm kind of getting jittery because by the time this goes out, which will be on Saturday, it's pretty much 1 week until me and Jess get married, and it's really starting to sink in. Um, we're gonna try and somehow find a way to record some stuff to go up while we're away, but we're only gonna be away until Wednesday, so Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I should only have to record a handful of videos. Plus, it's gonna be the beginning of October, Halloween Gameathon. Don't know yet what I'm going to play. I've not asked yet if you guys would rather see me play a new game each video or just one horror game for the entire month. Um, Plus, there'll be other spooky themed videos for most of the month. And the RWBY Ice Queendom English dub starts this Sunday. Me and Jess are flirting with the idea of possibly waiting to record ours and upload it until we see what the other reactors do, because Rooster Teeth and no one from RWBY has still said anything about how Ice Queendom reactions will be handled. I think I've said in a past video and on Twitter a few times that I have seen other channels full on react to the Japanese version without covering the screen, without putting a timer, and their videos are still up and fine. So we'll see. So if our episode 1 reaction is delayed, you'll know why. It's because we're waiting to see what everyone else does because we don't want to run into any trouble with that. Okay, so in this episode, this is pretty much a Bumbleby themed episode. Because when we last left off, Yang had learned about the White Fang attacking the Belladonna family in Menagerie because Blake's parents used to be not just members, but Giro was the leader of the White Fang before he stepped down, just like in the original show, and so they are still a big name, especially in the Faunus world. And just like in the show, the White Fang have attacked, but this time around, instead of going to Haven, Adam has come to Menagerie to personally kill Blake's family and hopefully to kill Blake himself. And so Yang has raced off to Menagerie because she already knows from her dad, from Ruby's letters, and from the intel that Crow has sent him that Ruby is okay right now. Their stay at Haven while Lionheart pretty much stalls them is a little bit longer in this version than in the show. Which the show, I love Ruby, but sometimes the show doesn't do a really good job of detailing how much time has really went by. But it's a bit longer in this version than in the past. Than in the original show. Sorry guys, I'm tired. Um, so when Yang gets into the vicinity of Menagerie, she of course sees the smoke. She can hear the sounds of fighting. So instead of like at Beacon, when she just went in head first and just started taking out everything in her path, she quietly lands pretty much in the middle of it. Now, of course, there are Faunus running around for their lives. There are sadly some dead on the ground. Um, and some of the White Fang members who see Yang land remember her from the fall of Beacon. They've still got wounds from her attacking them, and they run. There are, however, some new members of the White Fang who don't know about Yang and quickly attack her, and Yang easily wipes the floor with them. Some of them she sends sailing off into the water, some she sends skidding on the ground, making craters as she goes. But all in all, she needs to find Blake. Now, of course, Blake is not with her, so she has no idea what house is Blake's. So she decides to go toward the biggest house on the island because that seems where all the members of the White Thing are going towards. She's got to figure, ah, that's got to be it because her dad was once the big cheese in all this. So once she gets close to the house, she is met at the front door, just like in many video games when the mini boss cuts you off right when you arrive at the main dungeon, is Ilia. Now, this is pretty much the same version of Ilia that was in the show. She is Blake's longtime friend who did have a crush on her, but of course, in the show, Blake fell in love with Adam instead of Ilia. In this version of Blake did not technically fall in love with Adam. She just fell for his act that he was putting on. But Ilia saw that as romantic intent, and so she's pretty much mad about that, like she was in the show. But of course, she has also been brainwashed by Adam because remember, this is the same Ilia. Her parents still died in the dust accident and all that, and so she blames humanity and of course the Schnee Dust Company for the deaths of her parents. And so she tells Yang to get inside. You've got to go through me, which Yang's like gladly. And Ilia attacks, of course, with her weapon, but Yang easily catches it. Ilia tries to shock Yang. It really has no effect. Yang jerks it out of her hand, quickly punches her in the gut, sends her flying. That's it. Her aura diminishes. More on Ilia in a bit later. So Yang runs inside. Just like in the show, the place is on fire because of Blake. But instead of Cornick and it's been so long since I've seen Volume 5, but besides the two brothers, I don't want to mess up their names because it has been a while since I've watched it. I was probably on the right track there, but I don't want to risk it. And instead of fighting them, it is actually Adam that Blake is fending off. And Blake is doing a good job. She's gotten a little bit stronger since the fall of Beacon. Adam, of course, has not really gotten any stronger because he's Adam. He's not going to train. He thinks he's got all that he needs right now. Um, but eventually, Adam does start to get Blake's back to the wall, and he starts saying the demeaning things. You're a coward. You ran. I can't believe you ran. You said that you believed in our cause. Now I'm going to kill your family right in front of you before I kill you myself. That's when Blake looks over and spots standing in the doorway Yang, and she's like, Yang, what are you doing here? And of course, Adam quickly looks over and he does the same thing he did in Volume 6. He's like, you know. And of course, Yang tries to be, the dashing hero, get away from her, you and me have a score to settle, blah, blah, blah. And and Adam's like, well, gladly, and he looks at her arm and says, I didn't take your arm, but it looks like I almost did. And she's like, trust me, you won't get a second chance. So, of course, he's also got a flashy new sword because she broke his at Beacon. Blake wants to take part in the fight, but she knows she needs to go check on her parents, so that's where she runs off to. And Adam attacks Yang. And now that Yang has not only trained with Gia and her father to fight smarter, she's also went through gravity training, which has increased her power not tenfold, not 20-fold, probably by 50-fold at this point. She is easily dodging every one of his attacks to the point where Adam is getting tired because not only has he been fighting Blake, but he's fighting in a burning building. Breathing in smoke and all that, and fire eating up all the oxygen, even though there's open doors and windows, that is going to wind you very, very badly. And so he is losing gas, figuratively. And Yang just punches him in the face. Like, she gets an opening, she punches him right in the face, sends him flying through the house. He goes out one wall, out the other, and there's a snap. So not only has she broken his jaw, but going through the house and hitting the ground on the other side, he has broken his ribs. His aura smashes. He is completely bodied once again at this point. He needs more power, but as of right now, he does not know how to get it in a quick amount of time because Adam may be strong, but he is still a faunus that has lived on Remnant his whole life. He does not have the strength or the talents that a Saiyan, even a half-blood Saiyan like Yang, has. And so quickly, the White Fang gather around him and cart him off because he's just spent at this time. He cannot go anymore. Um, and that's when Blake shows back up, and they leave the house. And Ilia is back up on her feet, and it's kind of the same thing that happens in the show. She gives the same kind of monologue that she did to Blake in the show, but just like originally, Blake finally gets through to her. I know it's kind of quick to go through, but it's pretty much the same thing that happened. She even attempts to fight Yang again because Ilia pretty much sees Yang as great, another person to take away. Uh, I don't really want to say Blake's attention because I don't want to see Ilia as that kind of character because there was more to Ilia than just her crush on Blake. But it's not to say that she probably wouldn't think that at this point. But eventually, through talking through to her, Blake reaches Ilia, and Ilia at first is taken away, but Blake tells them that be good to her, don't arrest her, you know, and her father even speaks up and says, yes, I forgive her. We need to stick together in this, and she needs a family, pretty much, because that's how not having support is what got her here in the first place. So, once things have calmed down a little bit, Blake yet lets Yang know a little bit of information she got from a White Fang member that she took out, and that is a stronghold near Argus. There's a big White Fang stronghold in the area of Argus, out in the middle of the snow in the mountains. Pretty much think of Muscle Tower from Dragon Ball. Well, Yang wants to help her, but she's like, I really should get back to my sister, make sure she's okay. And so they compromise. Blake says, well, you came here and helped me and helped my family. I've got to be grateful for that. So I'll go with you, help you out with your sister, and then I would like to ask your help in finally taking out the White Fang. Because that's been Blake's whole thing here, is to at least take out Adam's White Fang, so maybe that the White Fang can rebuild or reestablish itself and become what it was supposed to be. So Yang agrees. So since Adam is not leading an attack on Haven, there's no need for the Faunus to be taken to Haven. So Yang pretty much... So Blake's mentions, well, how are we going to get there in time? Because, it's going to take a while for us to get to Haven that quickly. And Yang's like, have you forgotten that I can fly? And Blake at first is like, no, I am not doing that. Her ears go up. She does not want any part of that. But Yang's like, but if we take a ship, we're going to be like days, maybe even weeks behind. Something could happen at that point. So Blake finally acquiesces, lets Yang pick her up bridal style, and Yang takes off into the air. Blake quickly screams, not so fast. Yang just chuckles, and she takes off. So by the time they finally arrive in Haven, it's about a few days before the Battle of Haven that eventually does happen. So Yang quickly picks up on Ruby's presence. They find exactly where they're staying. They land. Yang just walks right in. First one she sees is Ruby, and Ruby runs to her. It's not timid like it was in the show because, yes, Ruby left without saying anything, but this is a different Yang. Let's just say that. And so, yes, we have the big O reunion. Though this is really the first time any of them have met Blake, because Blake really didn't meet the others at Beacon because, once again, just like Yang, this version of Blake did not go to Beacon. So Yang introduces her, and Ruby already starts teasing her, oh, is she your girlfriend? And she's like, shut up, it's nothing like that. Even though they can tell that Yang does have an attraction for Blake, Blake just rolls her eyes and chuckles a little bit. which Ruby says, oh, she didn't deny it, which causes Blake to blush as well. So they spend a few days just doing the same things they did in the original volume, having dinner, talking, having an actual good time, because there's a battle about to happen, but they're taking this time to enjoy the small things. So Yang and Blake join Ruby and the others to confront Lionheart about all that's been going on, and pretty much the same events of the end of Volume 5 take place. Them discovering that Lionheart is indeed allianced to the one who pretty much orchestrated the fall of Beacon, who was Ozpin's biggest enemy, which little Oscar is there, though Oscar really won't have much of a role in this What If. And the same ones show up besides Raven. Raven does not get involved with Cinder at this time. But Cinder, Hazel, Emerald, and Mercury all show up. Yang doesn't know any of them because, like I said, she didn't go to Beacon, but she's not really impressed with any of them. Now, before Cinder came to Haven, she found and talked with the injured Adam Taurus. And she teases him, of course, like, wow, what happened to you? You know, I heard all these boogeyman stories about you, and look at you, you can barely walk, you know, and he threatens her, of course, get out of here. But she's like, well, hold on. There's something I can give you that could give you an edge in your next fight, you know, because even though Adam is not in allegiance with Salem, Cinder is kind of still using him in a way to spread all that upheaval because that brings the Grim. And I don't know if we've really. There's probably a name for it. It's just escaping me at the moment. But Cinder pretty much gives him the same thing that she has that helped her steal the maiden powers in the original show. It's pretty much a Grim. But this one is completely different. It is there to. It's not supposed to change your physical appearance, but it is meant to be there to feed off your negativity and make you stronger. And at first, he doesn't want to take it, but through Cinder's way of talking and her way of persuasion, she talks him into it, and he accepts. Anyway, back to Haven. Pretty much same thing happens. A battle breaks out, though it's one hard thing about having a Saiyan involved is that it makes a lot of the fights easier. I think maybe the only one who could really hold her own would be either Cinder if she used the maiden powers, and Hazel. But Blake and Weiss and Ruby kind of tangle with Emerald and Mercury. Jean does the whole thing with, you know, the speech he gives to Cinder and all that, because sadly Pyrrha still did die in this version. Weiss still gets impaled. That's how Jean unlocks his healing semblance. Yang takes on Hazel. She helps Nora and Oscar with Ozpin inside him. She helps them out with him. Successfully knocks him out. But after Cinder stabs Weiss, Yang kind of goes ballistic. And because even though Yang is not as close to this Weiss as she was in the original show, she sees her sister's anguish at it, and that in turn causes Yang to rage out. There's a little glow there's a flash of golden glow in her eyes before she disappears and reappears in front of Cinder and just knocks her through the wall. Cinder, however, thanks to the maiden powers, immediately recovers and continues the fight. This Cinder is a bit stronger because sadly in this version, Vernal was the Spring Maiden, not Raven, and Cinder was able to find her before coming to Haven, so this Cinder is way stronger. It's strong enough to the point where Yang has to use not times 5, not times 10, but times 15 for the Geofist to actually gain an upper hand. So yes, this version of Cinder is very strong, and the thing is, she's not even using all of her power. Yang technically isn't either. we all know Yang has a transformation that she still has yet to unlock that could probably give her the win in this situation. But even though Cinder isn't really trying, Yang still catches her off guard and wounds her. And that is pretty much what leads her to losing the relic in this, is that Yang pretty much surprises her with a blast that sends Cinder sailing off, pretty much leading everyone to believe that she was incinerated in the blast. So then, pretty much same stuff still happens. They retreat. Emerald, Mercury, and Hazel all retreat, and team the good guys get the relic. Though this time it's Ruby who goes down and get it, because we don't have that interaction between Raven and Yang in the vault. And so the 2 weeks go by between Volume 5 and Volume 6. Everyone, and I know I didn't mention Crow that much, but yes, Crow was there. He helped out in the fight as well. Are all getting ready to go to Argus. Blake and Yang, of course, have their own journey to go on to finish off the White Fang and hopefully dethrone Adam from his power over the White Fang. But for now, they decide to board the train because I'm almost wanting to say Team RWBY, but everyone else is going to Argus, which is on the way. So they're like, let's chill, sit back, and enjoy the train ride. But pretty much the same thing happens like it did in the show. Grim attack derails the train, the part of the train that they are on. But Jean, Ren, and Nora still stay on the one side of the train that keeps on going, where Ruby, Weiss, Blake, Yang, Oscar, and Crow are all left elsewhere. And then, of course, yes, Maria is there. And Blake's decided she's had enough. She's like, well, she's not really had enough, but she realizes from the information that she has that the stronghold is actually very close to where they are. So Yang doesn't want to leave Ruby, especially out in the middle of nowhere in the snow. But Crow reassures her, hey, go do what you need to do, Firecracker. I'll watch after her. We're good. Okay? That's not exactly all he says, but you get the gist of it. Yang still doesn't want to do it, but Ruby says, sis, I'm not a little kid anymore. It's okay. I don't constantly need you to protect me. Yang's a little hurt by that, but she also realized, yeah, her sister's grown up. It's time that they both go their own ways on what the others do. But Yang promised her, I'll catch up back to you guys as soon as I can. And they say their goodbyes. She picks up Blake, and they go off in the direction that they need to go. And Ruby, Weiss, and the others go on there. So yes, Yang and Blake miss out on the big lore dump for Salem. I'm doing this for one big reason, and that is I'm still coming up with the story behind Salem in this version, because I don't want to go the immortal villain route, because as much as I love Ruby, I don't like immortal villains. I think it's kind of hard to get around that. Now, if the Dragon Balls actually existed in this version, then maybe could get around it easily, but I don't want to do that. But so following the intel that she has, Blake and Yang fly off into the snowy mountains, and they finally come out to what is pretty much a tundra at the foot of a mountain, where there is, of course, a White Fang fortress. Now, of course, Yang just wants to destroy it. Like, she could easily do it, but Yang tells her no. She says, I want to learn why this is here, because she's never seen a White Fang fortress like this before. This is bigger than the main headquarters where Sienna was before she was murdered by Adam. So what is going on here? Now, of course, having fought him twice now, Yang knows Adam's presence and fills Blake in that Adam is not there, which they attribute that to, yeah, he's hurt, so he's going to be recovering a little bit, so of course he's not here. What they don't know is Adam is going through a bit of a change and getting stronger by the minute. So their plan is pretty much for Yang to let herself be known, cause a distraction, don't use too much power, hold back a good bit, but not enough to where you're going to be captured or anything, while Blake sneaks in. And so Yang she just casually walks out through the snow, and she is attacked. And of course, she easily makes quick work of them, and it's almost like there's an endless amount of White Fang members that are coming out to fight her. But she's making quick work of them while Blake sneaks in. Now, of course, Blake goes all ninja on them. If she gets to a part where there's people there, she sneaks up on them, doesn't kill them, but knocks them out. And she finally finds what looks like a control room of some sort. And she learns that this is a human prison camp, pretty much. It is pretty, like, since they're so close to Argus, and a lot of Atlas personnel are in that area, they've been kidnapping them and pretty much hold them for ransom from the Schnee Dust Company, though, of course, Jacques Schnee has not listened to it, and not even Ironwood has either, because the place is still there. If, surely if Ironwood knew about this, he would have the place raided, right? No. So Blake is a little disgusted with this, because this is really dark, dastardly stuff that the White Fang should not be doing. They shouldn't be holding prisoners, and even though, yeah, the humans have been doing this to the Faunus, Blake doesn't want to pretty much do the same to humans, because there's nothing that could come of that, just more hate and more divide. And so she pretty much destroys the control room, which catches fire. She comes out and pretty much fires Gamble into the sky, pretty much letting Yang know that, hey, all bets are off. You can start really tearing the place up. And Yang does. She completely destroys the wall, comes in, and her and Blake both just destroy the place. Now, of course, during the fight, she fills Yang in that, hey, there's prisoners in a part of it. Do not fully destroy it yet. And so they make their way down into what's pretty much the dungeon area, and they let everyone go, which they are thanked, everyone thanking them, thank goodness you're here, blah, blah, blah. And once everyone's out, Blake looks at Yang, she nods, Yang powers up, forms a blast, and just completely destroys the place. It is now in shatters, and they've pretty much destroyed the White Fang's main base of operations in Argus. So once Adam gets a hold of this, surely he's going to be upset. So Yang and Blake, using Yang's ability to fly, gets the people to pretty much where Argus is, because Blake knows where that is. So they will be taken care of. They're not just going to leave them out in the middle of nowhere. But Yang is worried because she does not sense RWBY's presence in Argus. They do run into Jean, Nora, and Ren, and Yang is not happy. She's like, where's my sister? Did they not arrive yet? And they're like, no, we've not heard from her in a while. And Yang pretty much goes pale at that point. She's like the one she pretty much starts blaming herself. Like, what have I done? She starts panicking. Blake puts her hand on her shoulder and says, Yang, don't worry. Let's go look for them. Yang nods, and she picks Blake up, and they fly off back into the Argus wilderness. And that is where we are going to end part 6. Sorry if it was a little all over the place. Like I said, I did not have time to really sit down and fully plan this out. Sorry if it was a little rushed, but it is a what if. I'm not going into great detail here because these would be over an hour long if I did that. I'm sure there's a lot of people who would love them to be an hour long, because these videos have done better than I thought they would. I'm really happy with the result for them. Um, Part 7 will be out next week. That is when we will cover some parts of Volume 6, like the apathy and all that. But the main event of Part 7 will be Blake and Yang versus this new version of Adam. And yeah, it's going to be an explosive fight. Let's just say that. But hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, click that like button, leave me a comment. As always, guys, this is Canaan. Me and Jess love you all very, very much. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.